Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Let me run to the truck and grab something. A couple people were asking about chainsaw sharpening videos. I've done them in the past. It's been a while since I've done one. But we're gonna switch up. This loop here is the 72 LGX. You see where we're at in the tooth? Lots of life left. This is old stock. I've had it in my shop. I like the 72 LGX. But I will say, towards the end of the LGX's lifestyle, sorry, the sun's really bright. Towards the end of the LGX's lifespan, their last couple runs, something was messed up. The quality control was out. When you got to about half the life of the tooth, they sharpen up nice, but they don't hold the edge very long. Something's with the temper of the hardness. But I always like this stuff, and they did away with it, just like all good things. So I'll save this for a bucking chain if I get on a job where I have to hand buck again. We're gonna switch up to the EXL. That's what I run right there. And there's the size. Obviously I run a 2-foot bar, 3/8, 50 gauge. Now, let's see here, something I want to do. This is that little thing I don't know, found it at a garage sale or something. I think my grandpa found this at a garage sale. But it's just called the Pocket Pal. But why I like it is because I don't have one of them hooks to clean this. And this thing fits right in there, and it fits into my big hand nicely. And what I do is you just want to clean all that schmutz. See there's stuff coming out? You want to clean that schmutz out of there. I'll do this side. And I'll show you what I do to a chain right out of the box. That's the point of this. So I'll clean that stuff off the face of that. You don't want that on there. And obviously, you have your oiler hole. See that little hole? Where'd it go? That's the oil that the hole gets into the bar. So you want that nice and clean. I'll take this and wipe some of this crap out of here. It's kind of hot still. Got a little bit of crap down here where the bar, you want to make sure where the bar sits against this plate is nice and clean. Okay, so there we go. New chain right out of the box. You say, oh, some people say chain's never as sharp as when you first get it out of the box. And I argue that all day long. One thing about the EXL, it has gotten a little better with their newer models, but when it first came out, the out of the box grind sucked. Was just terrible. I don't know what they were going for, but it's just terrible. And I understand for insurance purposes that they have to have it done a certain way so they can say if you pull it out of the box and cut your leg off, they can go, well, you can't sue us because we put it to these standards or blah, 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 whatever. And this could be a problem. There it is. I lost the bar nut. You have to lift up on the bar a little bit. It says that right in the manual too. Just for tolerance reasons, but we're not going to go all the way tight. We're going to get it close. And I'll just end up tilting this like this. And you don't have to do it this way. This is just how I do it. So if you got a different way of doing it, whatever works for you, man. I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody how to do something. I just show you how I like to do it. Now we're going to tighten it up. I like a little snap because it's going to get loose right out of the gate when you first run a new chain. Give it a little tighten. I usually like to take this tool, just give it a fling. Now, first thing I like to do, some people use a flat file. I like to use this triangle file. I don't know why. Just seems to fit in my hand, and or works nice, and you have 3 faces to sharpen with instead of 2. They make them square ones that are like 3/8 by 3/8. Those are pretty nice. They're just a little pricey and they're hard to find sometimes. But let's see, we want this face. Right out of the box, I hit each raker 1 to 1.5 times, depending on the hardness of the tooth. Now, that tooth felt a little hard, so I'll take another swipe. And why? Because I feel right out of the gate, the tooth is not, the rakers are not set aggressive enough. Once again, that's personal opinion. I'm sure that Oregon has a reason, you know. And some guys say, oh, you need a gauge and all this. If you like a gauge and more comfortable, that's fine. I can basically eyeball it by the shiny spot on the top of that raker. It's just, you get a feel for it after you do it enough. And I mean, sharpen the chain once is a good day. And you can imagine more, you know, you hit fence or hit stuff, go rototilling. And then here's the file I run. This right here is a preferred file. The type of file that I liked the most was Save Edge. I have a few left, but Save Edge is out of business now. Or they don't make chainsaw files, which really sucks because they made a good chainsaw file for a fair price. So, but this is preferred, and what I like to do is just take a swipe for 2. And what I'm looking for is for the tooth, when I put that file in there, you'll see a little gap. It'll be right, can you see this? You'll see the gap between the file and the tooth. The second that gap goes away, because they grind it with like a grinding wheel, that lets you know that the inside of your tooth is now rounded nice, and it seems like it cuts better once you do that. See that? Let's see if I can do this. But the sun, I don't know, and the shadows. Can you see that little gap at the top? I can't tell. No, you can't see it because I'm not holding it in the right spot. See that little gap? It's not focusing. Ah, shit. Either way, there's a little gap at the top of that. You might be able to see it, you might not. Let me take 2 puppies. 1, 2. Sometimes I just gotta touch it, a light third one. And you don't have to, you can run it out of the box like that. The LGX I used to. But something with this EXL, they got a goofy grind on it. And they boasted about, oh, some new triple angle grind or something. And I think it sucks. That's just me. I don't like to sharpen with a grinder because I feel like it can mess up the temper of the tooth. Plus, I can't lug a grinder around in the woods. Now, I sharpen my buck saw with a grinder, and I do that because, let's face it, I'm not hand filing 3/4 pitch chain. And you say, oh, well, you did 1, 2. Ooh, see, that one was hard. That tooth's got, something's wrong with the hardness. The temper, that's a bad tooth. Ooh. Now, some people say, oh, you did 3 or 4 and blah, 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 blah. It's all in the feel. It's how hard I'm pushing. You can tell how you're looking at gauging from the face of the tooth to the mark on the tooth, how much material you're removing. So if some people say, oh, you have to have a gauge. Well, you don't necessarily have to have a gauge. You know, it's a feel thing. If you're comfortable with a gauge, use a gauge for all intents, for all purposes, please, if that's how you feel. They have the ones that mount to the file, that file the raker and the tooth all at the same time. Whatever you like doing, man. If you like using a grinder, use a grinder. I'm not going to tell you what's the best way. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself. What's best for you. So some people just don't like to sharpen chains and they take them to somebody. So, but yeah, that's what I do with a new chain out of the box. Just some things. Now I'll have to flip this over obviously and do the other side, but there's 10 minutes of sharpening a chain. I'm sure that's probably boring enough for you guys. So I got to get to work. Had some other things to take care of this morning, so I'm a little bit late, running behind, and we've got a lot of rain coming tomorrow. So I've got to get some things tidied up and taken care of before the rain, and obviously want to get as much wood out as I can. So thanks for watching, everybody. As always, stay safe, have fun, and don't let your meat loaf.